Welcome to another Brainy Boomer lecture series. Thank you again for joining us today. First, before we begin the workshop, we would like to begin by acknowledging that the McGill University Research Center in Studies in Aging is located where our work is done on unceded Indigenous lands. The Kenyan Kehaka Nation is recognized as the custodian of the lands and waters on which we gather today. Tiohtià:ke, commonly known as Montreal, is historically known as the gathering place for many Indigenous peoples. Today, it continues to be the home to a diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future, and our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples we serve within the Montreal community and at large. In 2007, the McGill University Research Center for Studies in Aging Education Committee began the Brainy Boomers lecture series to suggest practical steps to both improve and maintain brain health, as well as to promote healthy lifestyle choices amongst the most populous generation in history. The MCSA Education Committee, founded in 1996, has three objectives. One, identifying education needs of healthcare providers, seniors, caregivers, the public, and developing responses to meet these needs. Two, enhancing the positive image of aging by addressing stereotypes, myths, and paradigms. And three, dissemination of research on successful aging. Today's workshop, entitled Better Sleep, Better Life, is presented by the nursing students from McGill University: Stéphanie Beauregard, Mina Besadet, Eve Bousquet, Juliette Champagne, Eve-Marie Poulain, and Katerina Rodaros. Thank you so much for presenting your lecture today.
First of all, thank you for joining our presentation today. I'm just going to do a little introduction on who we are, Alexandra. So we're a group of nursing students who are actually finishing our bachelor's degree at McGill. So this is our last semester, and we're finishing off the semester with a little community project we were doing with you guys. So this is part of our project. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat and raise your hand if you're able to throughout the app.
So today, as you might have seen on the poster, we are going to be presenting Better Sleep, Better Life, which was created by us, students from the Ingram School of Nursing. So today we're just going to be teaching you. We're going to look at the outline. We are going to have videos to see a night routine and see maybe if there are problems that could reduce sleep quality in it. And then from that, we're going to build on a conversation to see what you guys know about sleep disturbers. We're going to be going over the sleep cycle, and then we're going to go over things like the consequences of poor sleep, sleep hygiene, medications that affect sleep, and the relationship between diet and sleep. And then also we're going to be talking about when to consult a physician about sleep issues. Then at the end, we're going to go over a second video of another night routine, and then that should be corrected with everything that we saw together to improve sleep. And then at the end, we're going to put a little link in the chat for a post-presentation survey. And it's really important if you guys could fill it out for us, because for us to have feedback, to improve and know what you guys liked or didn't like about our presentation.
Hi everyone, it's currently 2 a.m. and I'm gonna bring you with me to get ready for bed. So the first thing I love to do before sleeping is watch a movie. Tonight I chose Hunger Games because I love action movie. I love coffee. I also have a little snack, which is a muffins. I made them this evening. Also brought some chocolate because chocolate is always good with coffee. I love to keep all of my lights on because I can see myself better, wash my face, brush my teeth. I also take all of my medication before bed. I have two new prescriptions. One is called Lasix. The second one, it's beta blockers. The doctor didn't really mention if I was supposed to take them in the morning or night, evening. So why not? I'm just gonna take them before sleeping. When all of my little routine is done, I just go lay down in my bed, keep the lights on, put my movie on my TV. I scroll on TikTok, Facebook. I speak with some friends on Messenger. And when I feel a bit more sleepy, that's when I try to close all of the lights and try to sleep. I would say usually it takes up to 2 hours before I sleep, so I should sleep at around 4 a.m. I guess it's pretty normal when I speak with my friends. They all tell me that it takes them up to 2 hours also before sleeping. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll guess I'll see you tomorrow morning for a new video. Bye.
All right, so what did you guys find was wrong in this video, the night routine? Can you guys give me examples of things you saw that would be least favorable for sleep? If you guys, you can also write in the chat if you prefer not speaking. That's fine also.
Almost everything was wrong with this video.
The
Yeah,
whole
right.
Everything she was doing was wrong. So I
the
don't
whole routine.
the
Do you
whole
have
routine-
any examples specifically?
Any examples? First of all, you don't watch TV at night just before sleeping.
Right.
Second of all, if you're taking pills, etc., you have to be careful and you need to know when you have to take them and not just ad hoc decide when you're going to take them. What else was there in the video? Keeping lights on at all kinds of time. You need to subdue the lights. You need to maybe not get yourself excited. There was chocolate, there was coffee, all these, everything was wrong. And I think it was almost specifically done so that we could see what was wrong with the bedtime routine.
Exactly. So you point out a lot of good points. We're gonna look at them together, but you mentioned most of them already, so that's very good. It was very obvious. So yeah, you mentioned the medications, which is good. The scrolling and the smartphone, not a good idea. We try to limit usage of any electronics before bed. The snack was a bit heavy. It was filled with a lot of sugar. So there was chocolate, caffeine too. The bright lights in her room before sleep weren't gonna help her either. A very stimulating movie too won't help. And then we also had, she forgot to use the bathroom before bed. So we're gonna take a look at what we recommend for a good routine.
All right, so first of all, we need to talk about the sleep cycle. Obviously, I could do a whole presentation about the sleep cycle because it's a very, very heavy subject and it's quite complicated, but I'm just going to give you a general idea just so we can know better about it and well, applicate it in our daily lives. So in the sleep cycle, there is actually five stages. And during one night, we actually go through many cycles. So it could be around 3 to 5 cycles in one night. So the first stage would be the stage drowsy. So it's actually when we fall asleep. And during this stage, the body starts to relax, brain activity slows down. It's quite easy to wake up. So if you hear a sound or if there's something stimulating in your environment, your body's gonna probably going to wake up. And this cycle lasts from about 10 minutes, let's say. Then we have phase number 2, which is light sleep. So during this stage, the heart rate, the temperature, and the breathing, they actually all slow down. And still, it's quite easy to be awakened during this stage. And then we have stage 3 and stage 4, which are moderate or deep sleep. And this stage is very important because it's the stage where our body recovers, where growth happens, where restoration happen. So it's vital, these stages. And during these stages, it's actually quite difficult to be awakened because we're really deep sleeping. So even if there's sounds or anything like that, we're not going to necessarily wake up. And then for stage 5, this is actually called REM. So this means rapid eye movements. This one is a bit more complicated. It's actually a big peak during the night where the brain activity increases. Also, there's a complete paralysis of all muscles in the body, except for the eyes. We actually have lots of movements are in the eyes. This is why it's called rapid eye movements. This stage is very essential for cognitive function, such as memory, creativity, learning, etc. And this is actually the stage where we dream. So we have very vivid dream. We could also dream a bit in stage 4, but mainly this is the stage where we dream.
Okay, so we're going to start by talking about why it's actually important to have good quality sleep. What's the point of this presentation? It's because there are consequences that come with having poor sleep. So there's short-term consequences, which usually mostly affect, like reduce the quality of life, whereas long-term consequences can bring serious disorders, morbidity, and mortality. So the short-term consequences, there is an effect on mental and mood disorders. So it will make someone more prone to developing depression, anxiety, because the brain is not getting its proper regeneration and its proper energy. So it could lead to mood disorders. After, it reduces the immune system response. So that means someone is more prone to getting infections, especially during flu season. Someone may notice they keep on getting a cold, and also they may be more reacting to vaccines because their immune system is not strong enough to respond. It also reduces behavioral alertness. That means it reduces their rapidity to make a movement or to catch themselves if they're falling. So it can lead to injuries, falls, fractures, which then come with a whole lot of issues. So because someone is less alert, they're more groggy. We all know when we don't have a good night of sleep, everything's more foggy, the response time is slower. And it can also lead to memory loss or exacerbation of memory disorders. So if one already suffers from dementia or Alzheimer's, it can make it worse. And if not, it will just make someone suffer from memory loss. Again, we realize it when we have one bad night of sleep, we forget things more easily, but on the long term, if your sleep is not good every night, it can lead to memory loss. And then long-term consequences is more where there is more physical responses of the body and where it's harder for it to be reversible. So there's this thing called dyslipidemia, which is high cholesterol. Some of you may have heard about it. So having poor sleep can either worsen the cholesterol levels or make them higher, which is not good because cholesterol can block arteries and the cardiovascular system. So we want to keep the bad cholesterol at a lower level. It can also increase the chances of type 2 diabetes because poor sleep is linked with an effect on the endocrine system, which is where your hormones are regulated. So type 2 diabetes obviously comes with its own set of other morbidities. So we want to prevent this. And then if you do struggle already with type 2 diabetes, it can worsen it. So make your blood sugars higher. And then there's cardiovascular diseases, which is called CVD, which basically encompasses all heart problems such as blood clots. And then when a blood clot dislodges, which is called a pulmonary embolism, so it can increase those chances when having poor sleep. And then hypertension, which is the medical term for high blood pressure. And then it also it does have weight fluctuations. Mostly it creates obesity because again, the endocrine system, which is the hormones, then it makes you gain weight more easily. And then other long-term consequences, it has been proven to increase the mortality. It basically has been proven to shorten the lifespan. It also may increase the likelihood of certain cancers. I put may because it has been proven in certain cancers. So colorectal and a lot of gastrointestinal, so stomach cancers, pancreas, it has been proven to increase the likelihood. And then there's actually research right now about other cancers in the body, which are probably not helped with a lack of good sleep. And it also worsens symptoms of pre-existing gastrointestinal disorders. So if someone suffers from Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, or even just stomach ulcers, poor sleep will worsen them or even accelerate their development. So a little knowledge check to see if you guys have been learning already. The first question is true or false? Can poor sleep cause type 1 diabetes? Someone can just say it out loud or they can write it in the chat if they think it's true or false.
Yes.
False.
Yes, so it is false. This is a little trick. It's actually type 2 diabetes that it can cause. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder. So it's actually, you're more prone to getting type 2 diabetes, which is due to hormone regulation and eating habits. So that's very good. And then the second question, can poor sleep be the reason why someone keeps getting sick? So getting the flu, the cold, gastro, can it be the cause? True or false?
True.
Yes. So someone keeps on noticing they keep on getting sick, their immune system just can't get on top of it. And then they realize they have either flu, cold, gastro, and it keeps on rotating. It can be due to their lack of sleep. That's very good.
So how can we improve sleep? The best way to improve sleep is through behavior changes that include healthy sleep routines. This could be done by something that's called sleep hygiene. So sleep hygiene includes different practices that are important in having a quality sleep and that make you feel more alert during the day. It also includes behavior and lifestyle changes that are focused around sleep and habits throughout the day that will have a positive impact on your duration of sleep. So I'll just go over some sleep hygiene practices that you could try. So going to bed only when you're feeling sleepy, keeping a regular schedule of when you go to sleep and wake up, including on the weekends, because this will allow your body to get used to having a regular rhythm. Also doing things that help you relax before bed. So for example, taking a warm bath, doing relaxing activities like deep breathing, meditation, listening to calming, relaxing music, and also in the evening, reduce or avoid exposure to bright lighting in your environment, especially exposure that comes from blue light of computers, tablets, and smartphones. Also, it's important to create a comfortable space for you to sleep in. So, for example, making sure your bedroom is not too hot or too cold or noisy or has a very bright light source, making sure your bed has a comfortable mattress and bedding. You can include exercise in your daily routine. For example, walking can improve sleep. So it's best to exercise in the late afternoon or early in the evening. Exercising less than 2 hours before your bedtime can actually interfere with sleep, and exercising in the morning won't help with sleep. Avoid reading or watching TV or working in bed because this could keep your mind active and disrupt sleep. And lastly, try to get some natural sunlight by going outdoors early in the day, because this will help your body's natural wake sleep cycle.
So important point to remember, all the techniques we're going to be giving you today, it's important to try to slowly incorporate them into the routine. So trying to all change your lifestyle that you've been doing for the past 20, 30 years, all in one night, it's probably not going to be effective. The trick is to start by choosing one strategy, being consistent with it, and then once you're fully certain that it has been implemented and it becomes your nightly routine, then you can implement a second strategy. It could also take some time for these practices to help with your sleep. It's normal that after one night of just trying to close the lights, for example, that you won't find sleep easily. It has to be done consistently. And it's important to be patient and to not give up when you feel like it's not working. And also, it's important to monitor your sleep progress. So you can write down the strategies or even a little journaling to see what has worked for you or not. So you can know, you can follow and see specifically which routine, some things may not work for you, some others may. That's why it's important to also go one strategy at a time so that you know if you're putting them all together at once, you won't know which one's actually working for you or not. So the sleep routine, when you do if you come up with a routine that you do every single night, your body will know that it's time to go to sleep. So it's going to get adjusted to you starting your routine, and it's going to make the body feel more sleepy because it will know, okay, right now it's my time to go to sleep. And again, it helps you relax, but do things that make you specifically relax. One thing may work for someone, the other may not for someone else. So for example, if you take a warm bath, brush your teeth, put on your pajamas, listen to relaxing music, or read a book until you're feeling tired, and you do this every night, then your body will know, like once it gets to the last step, okay, next step is sleep. And you can use the sleep hygiene strategies to create a sleep routine that would work best for you, like I mentioned. But the goal is to use strategies to help with sleep and decrease behaviors that would interfere with sleep. So we're going to go through these in the next slides. So why is sleep so important? Like we said, it's kind of just a little the opposite of the consequences, but it decreases sleepiness during the day. It helps you fall asleep and wake up easily. And it also maintains the body's internal clock. So we'll talk about circadian rhythm, circadian sleep. Your body has an internal clock, and that's why if it's all debalanced, it could keep you up at night and make you sleepy during the day. And the benefits, there are on the neurological system, cardiovascular system, immune system, endocrine system, and on your mental health.
Exactly. So we're going to go into depth and for those benefits. So we're going to look at, first of all, the neurological system. Better sleep can actually improve cognitive functions. It helps to form memories and places things we learn into long-term storage so we can use them in the future. And also during the REM phase, like we saw with Eve before, new connections are built within the brain and they help to form insight. About the cardiovascular system, so about our heart, it actually lowers our heart rate and blood pressure decreases when we're in the rest and digest system. That allows optimal cardiovascular health. Regarding our immune system, so what helps us fight any possible infections? So actually sleeping helps strengthen the immune system. There was actually a study that was done that we read about that found that people who had more than 7 hours of sleep were less likely to have a cold. So there is a big influence there. Then about our endocrine system, so anything that's hormone related, adequate sleep promotes hormone regulation, so a better regulation of your hormones. Some hormones have a circadian rhythm, like we've talked before. So, for example, there is cortisol, which is a hormone that increases in the early day. There's also growth hormone that follows a circadian rhythm and is released during sleep. So, that could be basically why younger children need more hours of sleep than when we grow up and we're a bit older. And then also, sleep helps maintain a normal balance of hormones that are needed to promote feeling hungry and full. So there's a link with the feeling of satiety. And then also regarding our mental health, adequate sleep can improve our mood. So it's something to think about for sure. So we're going to do a few questions after this. So true or false? Right before going to bed, I should watch TV to help me fall asleep. What do you guys think? I'm seeing a few nods of no, that's right. And then our second one, creating a bedtime routine will help my body know it's time to go to sleep. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, right. That's true.
All right, so now moving on to medications that influence your sleep. So first of all, there are what we call sleep disruptors. So these medication actually prevent you to go to sleep. So first of all, we have beta blockers. Any medication regarding your blood pressure or your heart, such as metoprolol, bisoprolol. After that, we have antidepressants. So, for example, there's Celexa, Zoloft, Paxil, and then we have corticosteroids, so anti-inflammatory medication, for example, prednisone, cortisone, Coleft, and finally diuretics. So, for example, Lasix or diureal. For diuretics, especially, those medication actually doesn't really prevent you from sleeping, but actually disrupts your sleep in a way as where you always wake up during the night to go to the bathroom. That's how it kind of disrupts your sleep. And then we have sleep inducers. So those help you sleep and you actually need a prescription for those types of medications. So we have antidepressants. For antidepressants, make sure when you talk to your doctor that those types don't disrupt your sleep and actually induce sleep. And we have benzodiazepines. So those are what we call sedatives. So they help you fall asleep. So for example, there's lorazepam, triazolam. And we have also over-the-counter medication. For example, melatonin. Over the counter, what I mean by that is that you can find them on the tablets at the pharmacy. You don't need a prescription or you don't need really to see a pharmacist to actually be able to take one. And for melatonin, it's recommended to take it 1 hour before going to bed. So medication has time to take action and take it at the same time every night. So you kind of create a routine. And then a little knowledge check. So true or false, melatonin disrupts sleep, so it doesn't help you sleep. You can write in chat or open your mic.
I saw
False.
some
Oh,
people
okay, well,
add.
good. It does help you sleep, so you guys are right. It's false. And then bisoprolol, cardiac, does it disrupt your sleep?
Yes.
Yes, good job.
All right, so we talked about a lot of sleep hygiene strategies, but now what about nutrition? Can the way I eat, can it really impact the way I sleep? Well, actually, the answer is yes, absolutely. Many studies have actually shown that the way a person eats can influence for how long and for how well they sleep. Just for a general example, diets high in sugar, in saturated fat, that are low in fiber or protein could lead actually to decrease in the quality of sleep. And on the contrary, balanced diets that meet all of the food groups recommendation have been linked to a more restful and longer sleep. All right, so now concretely, what foods are going to help me sleep better? I have two good example, two options. So the first of them is Mediterranean diet. These diets is known for to be really high in fiber, to be high in healthy fats and protein, which are all components that can increase the quality of sleep. Also, it is very rich in many foods containing minerals and vitamins that are essential to induce sleep. This diet is actually generally composed of fresh fruits and vegetables, in poultry, in fish, nuts, beans, in whole grains products such as whole grain brain or pasta, in olive oil, and in eggs. It's a diet that is recommended for not just for sleep, but for general health, for cardio health, for energy. So it's just win-win all over. And I have another option. All right. So now we have minerals and vitamins. So as I mentioned earlier, some minerals and some vitamins are really known to facilitate sleep induction and to increase the quality and duration of sleep. This is the case of, for example, because there are many of zinc, magnesium, vitamins such as vitamin C or vitamin B in omega-3. Natural melatonin, because it can actually be found in some fruits or vegetables, in antioxidants, and folate. So I put down the slide some foods that contain high levels of said vitamins and minerals. First example is actually, it's called tart cherry juice. It's actually juice made from cherries and from the pits of the cherries, and they actually contain high dosage of high melatonin, natural one. So it's super great. It is though sugar, so we have to take it in moderation, and it can actually be found in general grocery stores. It could be an easy solution if ever you guys need one. Also, salmon is very high in omega-3 and vitamin B. Kiwi actually is very high in antioxidants and folate, so it could help you fall asleep faster. Nuts also, or seafoods, especially oysters, because they are very high in zinc and other vitamins that are essential to induce sleep. Now, there are some good food that can help with sleep, but there is also some food that will interrupt or complicate sleep. These are the foods that actually complicate digestion or that contain stimulating substances, which can decrease sleep quality or lead to frequent night awakening. For example, I have some obvious ones such as caffeine, but we have to be careful because caffeine is not only contained in coffee, it can actually be found in Coca-Cola drinks, in chocolate, in teas, etc. So we have to be careful with these. Also, alcohol, it's super complicated to digest and it can lead to decreased quality of sleep. Also, high amounts of sugar, heavy or fatty foods, large amounts of water or liquid right before bed. Also, large meals before bed or spicy foods. And now it's really important to know that when we eat those foods, it also really matters. So one of the recommendation would be to avoid eating full meals close to bedtime. So actually, it has been proven that some light snack could be beneficial, such as crackers, cheese, fruits, or vegetables. They could be beneficial to make sure that we're not hungry when going to bed. But a large meal right before bed are actually going to make it more complicated. Also, it is recommended to stop consuming caffeine in the late afternoon or evening. Also, to avoid large amounts of liquids before going to sleep. So it's recommended to drink big max 1 or 2 glasses right before going to bed. And also, it's recommended to not consume alcohol at least 6 hours before bedtime. All right, so time for my little knowledge check. First, adopting a balanced and varied diet could actually help me sleep better and for longer.
Yes.
Yes, true. Good answer. And number 2, eating foods that prolong digestion, such as large meals or fatty foods, can actually make me feel more tired and fall asleep easier.
Nope, it's false.
It's false. True. Thank you. All right.
So fast, before we move on to the next part, I will just answer a very good question in the chat that is coming from Susan. We were just asked to know about melatonin since we talked about it in the medication. And it was asked if you can take melatonin on the long term. So actually melatonin is not made to take on the long term. It's actually kind of a band-aid. It's just to help you fall asleep faster for someone that has been suffering from insomnia or struggling to fall asleep, so that in the meantime you can find better solutions that work for you. So to incorporate the bedtime routine or basically to help you fall asleep and then help you find strategies in the meantime. Also, melatonin might not work for everyone because depending on the medications you're already taking, it's important to see with your pharmacist or your doctor to make sure before you're taking it, even if it's over the counter, it still has interactions with other medications. So it's not recommended to take for more than like 2 months at a time. It's just a little patch to help in the meantime, but it's not a long-term solution.
All right. I hope that answers your question. I saw it did, so thank you. So we're gonna go into insomnia now because I don't know if you guys know about insomnia. I'm sure it's a probably topic most of you already know about. So what I want to remind you guys is basically it's a diagnosis, but a lot of people suffer from insomnia without being diagnosed. So that's why we wanted to give you a little bit of tips and tricks as to what to do when you could find yourself having difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. So a few key reminders I want to remind you guys. So like we talked a lot about the sleep schedule, it's important to try to stick to it even on weekends. It could be hard if you guys have other activities during the weekends to stay in the same hours as you fall asleep and wake up, but it's a good reminder for your body to know when it's time to go to sleep. Also, if ever you find yourself lying in bed, not being able to fall asleep again, we recommend trying to find short, relaxing activities that you could do, like reading a book on your couch or walking a bit and taking a light snack could be helpful during those times. Creating a nighttime routine, like we've mentioned a few times, and also staying active during the day, exercising during the day in the late afternoon or beginning of evening has shown a lot of benefits for sleeping. So that's a great way to help fight insomnia if you've ever been through that. I want to talk to you about cognitive behavioral therapy. Has anyone heard about this before? Yeah, so I see a few yeses. That's good. It's actually been shown to have a lot of good results. So before we're trying to recommend this before going into anything that's medication related because it has shown a lot of good benefits. So when do we recommend going to cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia? So people who suffer short-term and chronic insomnia can have benefits from this. So who gives this therapy? It's usually given by doctors, counselors, therapists, psychiatrists. And there's also been a lot of digital applications or programs that have been developed recently who give the same kind of concept of techniques they use, but just through a different software. So it's more accessible because we know a lot of people suffer from insomnia. So they're trying to make it as more available as possible. And so what's cognitive behavioral therapy? It's basically a therapy that explores thoughts, action, and sleep and tries to put them all together to find solutions to help correct those misconceptions or to challenge some habits that could be creating your insomnia. So it's usually around 6 to 8 sessions, but depending on the needs of everyone, it can go a little bit more, a little less. So basically the techniques that are involved are cognitive restructuration, stimulus control, sleep restriction, and compression. It's very hard to find. I see someone saying you have difficulty finding the therapy, or you can use your mic if you want. Okay. It's hard to access.
It's hard to find and to access them. It's not always easy if you don't have any therapy around where you live. It's hard to find too.
Yeah, so I think that's why they're trying to find some digital options. Some of them do use like a counselor that will like check in every week or depending on the needs, like every month or so. But I think some options out there that may be good and more accessible, like digital versions, we could try to find some resources if you guys want and we could share. Thank you for your question. Yeah, so there's a few techniques here involved that are interesting to look into if you guys are interested. We'll for sure give you more support there. So that's good. And so when do I seek medical attention for anything that's sleep related? If I answer yes to either or question, so they're pretty wide questions, but do I have trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep? And do I feel tired or exhausted during the day, even after going to bed at a decent time or feeling like I slept through the night? So, what's super important to remember here is if I feel like has been a lingering problem or it has gotten worse throughout the recent years, or I'm someone who usually has great sleep and all of a sudden I can't seem to, my sleep has been really disturbed or things like that, that's when we would recommend to go seek medical attention because it could have a good impact on your health. So, we're going to do a little knowledge check after. So, true or false? CBT can only help treat chronic insomnia. What do you guys think? Do you remember?
No,
That's right. It can also treat short-term insomnia as well. True or false? When I'm having trouble remaining asleep, I should remain in bed awake.
no.
No. Thank you for your response. That's all good. So we're gonna go into a video that's basically applying all the things we shared with you guys, and we're gonna see how that applies to Juliet's nighttime routine.
Hi everyone, it's 9 p.m. and I'm gonna bring you with me for a get ready with me for sleep. The first thing I like to do every night before sleeping is read a book. I'm reading The Nest. If I want to drink something, I'll try to drink maybe a warm glass of milk, a little glass of water, no caffeine. Before I loved to drink coffee before bed, I stopped it. And if I want to eat something, I'll try to keep it light, maybe some cheese, crackers, a banana, nothing with lots of sugar in it. And I try to keep all of the lights dim in the house. When I start to feel a bit more sleepy, that's when I will go wash my face, take off my makeup, brush my teeth, and then I will just lay in my bed, keep the lights closed in my room. I will not open the TV, not watch any TV like I did before, and then I will maybe put some relaxing music and just relax, and I should fall asleep in maybe 20 minutes. I try to go to bed at the same time, which is 9:30, and also wake up in the morning at the same time, which is around 8. Doing it every night really helps my body to memorize a bit of my sleeping schedule, and I feel tired at the same time every day. And I really saw some improvement during the day. I feel more energetic, I don't feel tired, and it really just helps improve my sleeping habits. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.
All right, so what do you guys think about Juliet's new bedtime routine? Do you guys agree? Yeah.
The best,
Yeah, that's the best for
but
sure.
it's hard to do.
So we're giving you tricks to incorporate into your nighttime routine. We don't want you to change it from today to tomorrow. Want to give you like a few ingredients to put through your recipe, and you choose whichever you prefer and you see if that works for you. So that's the idea we want to share. So thank you.
Thank you so much.